And welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show. Well, I think this might officially be the last time Jonathan and Andrew decide to bring fellow Knicks Film School fans to the Madison Square Garden with them because they can't seem to come home with a win. And I subbed in for them last year when they brought them to the Knicks home game, and they lost that game too. That was against the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Knicks fall to an Orlando Magic team that were missing Jalen Suggs, Paolo Banchero, both Wagner brothers, Franz and Mo, Gary Harris. They did not play a player in this game that averaged more than 10 points per game. Yet the Knicks managed to lose their third straight. They fall to the Magic 103-94. We have a lot to talk about. We'll take your super chats as we move forward here on our post-game show. So got a bunch of things we got to talk about here, guys. First and foremost, to quote the great Jeff Van Gundy, this is a make or miss league. And the Knicks, who have been in the midst of a really bad shooting slump, and we'll get to that first because I think that's really the bottom line here in this game, they shoot 4 of 22 from 3. And that's after starting the game 3 for 6. So you can do the math on that. Mike Breen talked about it towards the end of this game with how the Knicks closed it. They missed 15 straight three-point shots. You're not going to win many games when you're 4 of 22 from 3, especially on a night where you're missing Karl-Anthony Towns and you're missing Deuce McBride. Jalen Brunson, 8 of 21, not quite good enough. Mikal Bridges, 10 of 20, that was fine. Didn't get quite enough out of OG Anunoby. I don't really think he made much of a mark on this game, especially defensively, where you really see him make most of impact. Just 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Anunoby in this game, scored just 9 points. Jericho Sims was active, but just 4 points, and you could see his lack of offense really impact the Knicks over the course of this game. And then you look at the bench. Precious Achiuwa was a minus 14. Campaign finished a minus 3, but in the first half, I made note of this, he was minus 7 in the first half of this game. And that was at halftime when the Knicks were trailing, I believe, by just about that many points. They still can't trust their bench. I thought Landry Shamet was okay in this game, to be honest with you. I thought he couldn't make a shot, just like everyone else on the roster is 0 of 3 from 3. But I thought his defense was at least pretty strong in this game. And the Knicks just could not make a 3. 4 of 22, 36 of 81 from the field. And the Orlando Magic, on the other hand, and I don't want to make too much of this, the worst three-point shooting team in the league heading into this game, 31%. They finished 11 of 31. So they outscored the Knicks in this game by 21 points from behind the three-point line. And they defeat the Knicks by 9, 103-94. The conversation begins and ends there. The turnover battle was equal. They both had 12. Rebounding battle was about equal, 39-38 in this game. So if you're looking for why the Knicks lost, because again, hit the broadside of a barn, folks. And this, frankly, has been a pattern. In their last 7 games, they've shot 68 of 223 from 3. 30%. 30%. Now, because as they had a good stat on MSG during the game, where they noted the Knicks have led the NBA in points in the paint per game during that stretch at 64 points per game. They've still managed to win, even though their three-point shots are not falling and have not fell. But you're going to run into a team like Orlando, despite the fact that they missed so many of their starters, where they're not going to let them get points in the paint here. And they're not going to let them get easy runs to the basket. And we saw that with Jalen Brunson. They were switching big guys onto him. He made him shoot over them. I thought they were extremely disciplined on defense. Knicks, again, only attempted 22 threes, which is not a large number. This is off a game in Chicago where they only made 8 threes on 30 attempts. So I thought Orlando, they're always going to play good defense. They're a well-coached team. But the Knicks had opportunities to make shots in this game. They couldn't make them. Mikal Bridges, 1 of 7 from 3. Brunson just took 1 3, 0 of 1. That was a really long one early in this game towards the end of the shot clock. Josh Hart, 1 of 3. OG Anunoby, 0 of 3. Landry Shamet, 0 of 3. Campaign hit one late, 2 of 5. Precious did not take one. I guess he hit the side of a backboard on one. His foot must have been on the baseline on that particular shot. But the Knicks have to get out of the shooting slump. You go back to that Oklahoma City loss a couple days ago, and the reason the Knicks lost that game is because they scored 41 second-half points. Now, I did not love the offense in the fourth quarter of that game. I thought they tried to do too much up top with Brunson. They stopped attacking mismatches with Karl-Anthony Towns. They stopped attacking mismatches with Mikal Bridges, but they still missed shots and they turned the ball over. Now, turning the ball over was not a huge problem in this game. Knicks actually did a pretty good job with that over the course of this game. They just had 12 turnovers. That's not a bad number. But you have to start making threes. And, the Knicks play the Thunder on Friday. Knicks Film School is going to have a watch party at T-Squared Social on that night. Go down, hang out with the guys. But if you want to be a team like the Thunder, who are one of the best paint protection teams in the league, you're going to have to make some threes. You're going to have to make some jump shots. And like I said, the Knicks have been 30% from three over the last 7 games, and just 4 of 22 in this game. That's 18%. So that's going to continue to dip as the Knicks, continue to shoot the ball poorly. Now, why? Why are they shooting the ball poorly? Now, I'm usually in the Jonathan Macri camp where I'm not going to go nuts on Tom Thibodeau for the way he manages his minutes. In the end, is there a huge difference between 38 minutes and 35 minutes? I don't know. It's hard to say. Is it tired legs that's having this shooting slump at this point of the year? I don't know. I got the tired legs, back to back against Chicago in the last game. Now they scored in that game, but Chicago doesn't play very good defense. But you could tell their defense was really lacking in that game. And the Bulls, went off and, they made a bunch of threes in that game. But is it too many minutes for the starters for why they're missing threes? I guess I could be sold on that, maybe. But you just got to make shots. Jalen Brunson's been up and down with the shooting. OG Anunoby, you hope it's not the elbow, and he's just in a little bit of a slump. He hasn't shot the three well in a few weeks, to be quite frank with you. And if Karl-Anthony Towns is in there, again, you can get away with this, right? And he brings a different facet to this offense. When I was on with John, what was it, 2 weeks ago now? Maybe it was last week. It was we recorded the day after Christmas on the 26th, I believe. And one fun conversation we had was who was the Knicks' second most indispensable player. And we both agreed Brunson was the most indispensable. I don't think anyone would have an argument with that. And the second part of that conversation was, is it OG Anunoby or Karl-Anthony Towns? And I think I managed to convince John and come to my side on the Karl-Anthony Towns argument. And my case that I made there was that so much of the Knicks offense revolves around the space he gives you, his passing out of the high post, and just his ability to be used as a fulcrum of his offense. And we saw that in some ways with Isaiah Hartenstein late in the year last year with the handoffs, dribble handoffs, top of the key, his passing. Towns obviously a far better offensive player than Hartenstein in terms of scoring, but he's similarly used as a fulcrum of the offense. And I think you saw against a really good on-ball defense in Orlando, and I think we saw them switch a lot up top. They have versatile defenders, even, guys like Bataze, guys like Wendell Carter. They can switch as bigs and be okay. Brunson did not completely abuse those matchups the way he usually does when he gets, some of these guys on him that he thinks he can attack and beat. And again, Brunson didn't shoot great in this game, just 8 of 21 from the field in this game for him. But you need a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns, and I think you really felt his loss on offense in this game with the way the Knicks want to play. And if your threes aren't going to fall like the Knicks threes haven't fallen in the last few games, and certainly did not fall tonight again, 4 of 22, you need a guy like Towns to dominate in the paint and allow your offense to run in a way that's not just high screen and roll with a Mikal Bridges or Jalen Brunson and things of that nature. Now, I'll give the Magic credit, and this is a hit to the Knicks defense a little bit. You can't let this Magic team shoot 50% from the field. And the reason I bring that up with the Knicks offense is that they really could not get anything going in transition to get easy shots. You had a couple plays in the fourth quarter of this game. 2 straight possessions where Hart tried to create some energy, got his own rebound, got on the break, scored a couple baskets. I think that cut it to 6 at one point. Then you had a miscommunication on a switch, and it turns into a Wendell Carter layup. Wendell Carter, who heading into this game, pardon me, I brought up the stat because I thought it was significant. Heading into this game, Wendell Carter Jr. was shooting 16% from 3. 16%. He makes all 3 of his 3-pointers in this game. I think 2 of them came in the fourth quarter. Karl-Anthony, who had played himself out of the rotation for the Magic this year. On the year, Karl-Anthony, again, I wanted to make sure I had the stat for you. 38% from the field, 30% from 3. Shoots 9 of 18 from the field in this game, 3 of 6 from 3. Look, the Knicks gave up only 103 points. I can't kill them for the overall defense. But you would have liked, with all these injuries the Magic had, to force more than 9 turnovers, to get out and run a little bit more, to get some of those fast break points. Knicks just had 8 fast break points in this game. You know, if you force them to shoot under 50% from the field, maybe you force some misses, you get some more defensive rebounds, you can push the ball a little bit. The Knicks played this game at the pace the Magic wanted to play it at, because the Knicks defense didn't create enough turnovers, didn't get those takeaways to create that pace that they wanted. The Magic slowed this game to a crawl, and the Knicks were way too satisfied to play at that pace, and they couldn't force the game into a faster pace with some of those takeaways and, you know, forcing turnovers, getting out and running, and it turned into a half-court slog. And for an Orlando team that was missing a lot of their guys, they wanted this game to be a half-court slog, and that's what they turned it into. And the Knicks didn't shoot well enough to win a half-court slog, because when they got open threes, they did not make those shots. And they only attempted 22 of them. And when they shot them, they didn't make them. Knicks shot just 44% from the field, 36 of 81 overall. If you look at just the 2-point shots, I'll do quick math in my head here. They shot 32 of 59 from 2-point range. Guys, that's not bad. It's well over 50%. But the 4 of 22 from 3 kills you. 16 assists on 36 makes. That's not great. And again, I think we've seen this in the past. I think the Knicks have gotten better at this. But I think Towns is one of the reasons. When teams switch a lot, the Knicks struggle to generate really good offense. You take away some of that great passing that Brunson's orchestrated in the pick and roll, where, you know, you create some passing angles with the defense rotating, and Brunson's done a good job finding guys. I think early in the game, you found some baseline cuts in this game, things of that nature, where the Knicks did get some easy shots over the course of this game. But I think the Magic eventually made the Knicks try to score one-on-one, and Brunson didn't shoot well enough, didn't have a good enough game to take advantage of that. Bridges was fine, but 10 of 20, 24 points on 20 shots. That's okay, but not great. And it's funny, I mentioned Brunson. He was still, other than Landry Shamet, who was a +1, was still +3, which was the best Knick number than any other starter. Payne was a -3, but again, that kind of got helped by some garbage time at the end there with a couple baskets late. So again, guys, Knicks have to start shooting better. This is not a trend that started today. This is a trend that's been going on for a while now for the Knicks in terms of their lack of shooting. And it's something that they're going to have to fix as the schedule gets tougher. And look, they're going on a homestand, but the Knicks have been through a pretty soft part of their schedule. You beat the Wizards a couple times. You got the Raptors. Spurs were a good team. But it's really a situation where they played a really soft part of their schedule, even though some of those games were on the road. And now it's going to get tougher here. Got a lot of home games coming up. That's great. But the teams you're going to play are a lot more difficult. And the Knicks are going to have to start making more shots. You got the Raptors coming in Wednesday, but then you have the Thunder. You get the Bucks. You get the Sixers, the T-Wolves, the Hawks. There's a Pistons game squeezed in there too. So you're going to have to start shooting the ball better if you want to start winning some of these games. And again, I don't want to simplify it, make or miss. I'm sure there's going to be complaints about, you know, bench usage and stuff, though. Precious and Shamet both played over 20 minutes in this game. Cameron Payne played 12 minutes. Should we start having a conversation about Tyler Kolek playing instead of Cameron Payne? I'm open to that. I think Precious is going to play. Landry Shamet, again, I think he's been pretty good. You need Deuce McBride back, and you hope you can get Karl-Anthony Towns back. Again, it's that, you know, tendonitis in the knee. We saw him kind of get banged up a little bit at the end of that game. Stephen Bondy had a good report that he was still lifting weights after the game against the Bulls. So I think that's not really where it's from. This is kind of something that Cat's been managing all year. So something you have to figure out and manage as the season goes along. But again, the Knicks have to start shooting better, folks. And really, that's what it comes down to in this game. Make or miss league. The Magic outscored the Knicks by 21 points from behind the 3-point line. And it's going to be hard to win games when that happens. And frankly, this is not the Knicks, you know, from 1994 playing Penny Hardaway and Shaq, where games are in the 90s. You can't really score 94 points in the modern NBA and expect to win. And that's what the Knicks scored in this game. They actually shot free throws well, 18 of 22. But again, you can't shoot 4 of 22 from 3 and expect to win many games in the modern NBA.